Welcome to another edition of Checking It Out with the GMB from the Panthers office. This week we've got Uri Kolnick on the couch, we've got Evan Mosey with us, we've got Dan Green with us, we've got equipment manager Adam Goodridge with us. We've got footage of that race we set up between Evan Mosey and Robert Lakovitz, and we've got footage of you, the fans, at the book launch this last weekend. We're also looking ahead and back to the matches. We've also got arguably the most important man in British ice hockey. Certainly a man with a lot of power, if not the most power. Power enough to make and break some team's season. That's Simon Kirkham going into the Panthers office for this week's issue of Checking It Out with the GMB. He's the boss of the Department of Player Safety. He's the man in charge of discipline. So we're checking it out with the GMB, with Uri Kolnick and Evan Mosey. This is a big week for the Nottingham Panthers. Sheffield at home. Mo, you've played in a few of them. Uri's about to play in his second one. We might both be through in the cup, but pride's at stake, and it isn't billed as the biggest rivalry for no good reason.
It's one of those games. Yeah, it's going to be a huge crowd, definitely, with our fans, and Sheffield fans will be coming out, and it's always a good game. Like this weekend we just played them in Sheffield, and it was still a good turnout and good atmosphere, and it'll be the same at home.
Uri, did you enjoy the game last week against them?
Yes, absolutely. You know what, those are the games that it's fun to play, especially a team like Sheffield, talented team, a lot of offense, good defense, and great goaltending. So I'm looking forward for the next game.
Are they perhaps the toughest team we've played this year?
So far, yes, I would say.
Mo, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd probably say so far this year they've been the toughest team. Just their skill level, they're such a skillful team, and they're so fast, and they're just deadly on the power play. They're just a hard team to play against.
And do you think they would say that about us?
I'm guessing they would, yeah. I feel like we had a pretty good battle with them, and it was a pretty good game, and we'll give them a good game this Saturday, so it'll be a good match
for sure. After
this, it's Corey's testimonial. Let's give him a quick plug for that. You looking forward to that one?
I'm excited about Corey's. This is the first one I've ever been in, and I've heard good things, and it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of laughs to see some of the guys coming back, and it'll be a good weekend.
You must have played in a few testimonial games in your time.
No, I haven't.
Never?
No, never. So I'm looking forward for this one.
Is that because you haven't been at a team long enough for someone to have been?
No, actually I've been, but I mean, we never had any chance to do some kind of games like this, so this is going to be the first one for Corey, so we'll see how it's going to go.
All right, well, we're looking forward to the fans supporting us against Sheffield, and then on the road in Coventry, and then it is Corey's testimonial next week. You know, when you first came in, I think Eddie was telling me that you're something like the current top point scorer in the NHL of any of the players that currently play in the Elite League. You've got more points than any of the other ex-NHLers, but you're pretty much proud as well of the other leagues you've played in, the other top leagues, and the experience you've picked up elsewhere, especially in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, actually, I was thankful and grateful to go to Switzerland, because I spent 3 seasons in Geneva, which was right after the season when I didn't get a contract in NHL, and those are the 3 seasons I spent there. It was one of my better seasons in Europe. I won the championship, actually the top scorer, and I finished second and fourth, I would say. So those experience, I'll take that.
And we talked to Chris McSorley, who must have been your boss there in Geneva.
Yeah, he was actually.
He's kind of the coach, the manager, the owner.
Yeah.
Sweeps up.
Yeah, well,
does Goody's job.
Yeah, he does an excellent job. You know, he's a great guy, and he knows what he's doing, and he's a patient with his players. So that's why he's got this kind of success, because he doesn't waste his money, and he keep working with his young players. And look at him, where is he now? He's one of the top team in Switzerland.
And of course, he's the brother of Marty, who was Wayne Gretzky's minder. He's a former London coach in this league, and he's been up to Nottingham for some chat shows. He's a former GB coach and what have you. That brings me on to GB, Mo. You've got the passport. You've always had the passport.
Well, I don't know about always had it. I've had it for 2 years now.
Yeah, so I think it's another season and you'd qualify for the GB team.
No, it's after this year.
After this year.
After
I mean,
this
you've
year.
got to go into
I
next
got to
year.
finish out this year, yeah.
Got to go into next year.
Yeah, something I'm excited about. We'll see what happens.
You'd like them to pick. We talked earlier in the season with Corey and Paul Swindlehurst, who were sitting where you two guys are, and they said you should take whoever qualifies, the best players. You should not be saying it's got to be native. It's got to be, the best player, go with the best squad and do the best you can.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see if it happens, and for the opportunity, I think it'd be a great experience for me.
All right. Playing this week for the Nottingham Panthers, Mika Viekman will be back in goal. That was just a precaution when he came off against Fife, just to rest him. He's had a couple of days off. He was back on the ice at training. Farms needs a couple of operations, so he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Jeff's itching to get back. And as for Linger, we're still stick handling through the red tape, but you never know. Check the lineup, check the national anthem. He could be here, but we can't promise anything. What we can promise is great support. Obviously, it's a big game. What did you think to the fans turning out for the book signing last week?
Oh, it was great. You know what? I was impressed how many people show up, and they waited to get the book signed. So impressed.
Yeah, Mo, we were signing autographs for 2 hours, but I have to say there was some problem in your area. Corey and me had it sliding along really slick at the beginning. We were passing the books, we were passing the shirts, and then out of sight of us, it just ground to a halt regularly around your number.
I don't think it was me. I think it was a little bit past me, but I usually tend to chat a little bit with the fans, so I think that might have slowed it down a little bit. But
well, the rest of us were managing a little bit of a chat, but we weren't slowing it down, and then they got to you. So you kind of admitted it was your fault.
Yeah, it might have been probably me then. Yeah, just slowing everything down.
But the fans turned out in great numbers, probably the most we've ever had at a book sign. It took us 2 hours, like I say.
It was a good time. My hand was a little sore after it from signing so many autographs.
Have you had that kind of response on other teams you've played on your own?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in NHL, you gotta you do those things pretty much once a month. So.
And what are the fans like in Switzerland at Chris McSorley's team? Are they quite fanatical as well?
Yeah, the hockey actually got better and better, and people follows it more and more. So they enjoy the hockey in Switzerland for sure. All
right, Mo. A couple of weeks ago, you were on the show. And it was mentioned, Eddie put it to you, who's the quickest, you or Lacko? And you were very diplomatic. Now, we've got some more tape for the fans to watch, but you don't have to be diplomatic. Who won the straight race?
I did.
Who won the lap race?
I did, but it was very close, though. It was a pretty close race. It was after, it was after a pretty long, hard practice, so I'll give Lacko the benefit of that.
But you both work hard, don't you? With the heart monitors from my zone, you're both up there in the 80s, 90s.
Oh yeah, but it was still a hard practice. But it was a lot closer race than me and Lacko thought. We didn't know how close it would be. The same with a lot of people. They said it was a lot closer than they thought it would be, which is good.
Okay, this is Coco.
Yeah.
I'm watching the game in Sheffield with Farms, and I'm watching the game with Jeff War, and I said, who scored that goal? It was too far away from my eyesight. Sorry, Coco. I said, that was Coco. I turned around and said, who the heck is Coco?
Coco. Yeah. When he first came in, we were like, oh, what does everybody call you? What's your nickname? And he looked at us straight face and just goes, Coco. All right, and just stuck. So
it's not short for Coco Chanel.
It's got nothing.
So it doesn't go down the road till your nickname's Smelly or anything.
It's a long
like
story. It's just I got this nickname back in NHL when I started playing, and it was my first coach. He called me Coco because I was just this 5'11" guy, whatever, a little guy, and I was hitting, everything was moving. So basically, he kind of compared me to the Coco Beware. He used to be a wrestler. He say this guy, he's a Coco now. So okay, since I'm a Coco because I was hitting, everything was moving. So
a little Mexican wrestler. They didn't get your mask?
I don't even know who's that guy. No.
Oh man.
What are the other nicknames, Mo, this year?
I don't know. Cam,
Lacko.
Yeah, Farms Lacko, but Cam is probably by far. Cam.
Yeah.
But he just makes nicknames up for people like on the spot, like no one's heard it before, and he'll just come in the locker room and say a nickname that no one's ever heard, and we'll be like, who's he talking to?
Maybe he doesn't know who he's talking to.
Oh, he does, because he'll scream at him, but he's really really energetic.
So have you got an example?
Oh, I don't know if I can
What
say
did he
it.
call
I don't know
you?
if I can say it on camera. I don't know what people call me because it used to be Mo, but then Moran took that from me. So I don't really know. I guess Mo's is too hard to say, so they just stick with. I get really confused when they say Mo now because I think they're talking to me, but they're still talking to Moran.
Yeah, but at least ringside announcer Ken Feaster's got his tongue round it.
He does.
at
He
last,
did figure it out this year.
You know, he's struggling a bit with the Mosey bit, but
that's fine. Yeah,
he's got to Evan from
He's
Ivan.
got and Ivan.
Ivan.
He called me Ivan for a good month last year.
Yeah, until Coco, we had to say he's not stepping on if you call him it ever again.
I wanted to change my name to Ivan Drago.
Right.
From Rocky.
Now, we've mentioned the fans. Our Flower Vision bouquet of the week, the imaginary bouquet we're giving it to our fans because they turned out in such great numbers for the yearbook launch, our 70th anniversary. If you haven't got one, they're on sale at all the home games from the Panthers desk. You can also get them from Forbidden Planet on Friar Lane. But the bouquet this week goes to our big army of fans. They're absolutely fantastic. Now, we've seen footage of Evan in the race with Lacko. We've seen footage of you, the fans, at the book signing. We're going to cross over to the Chickzammit Gallery now, where Dan Green is going to examine the last 2 goals from the win against Fife last weekend.
Thanks for that, Gary. We're going to take a quick look now at the Panthers' 4th and 5th goals from Sunday against Fife. First goal here, Andy Bombach, a nice 2-on-1 over to Ollie Bettridge, and Ollie having a great time at the moment, scores another goal high over Dave Brown, the Fife goalie. You'll see here Andy Bombach holding the puck, forces the goalie to commit over to Ollie, and Ollie snipes right over his glove into the empty net for the Panthers' 4th goal. As I say, Ollie really coming into his own at the moment. A great weekend. He just can't stop scoring goals. Another one there for the young Brit. Next goal here. Could be the goal of the season so far, let alone the goal of the game. Rob Lakovic down the wing. A nice little drop pass to Stephen Schultz. Makes the goalie bite and over to Andy Bombach for the empty net goal. Obviously, all the Panthers lines really starting to click at the moment and scoring a lot of goals. But the Lakovic, Schultz, Bombach line is absolutely flying. No one seems to be able to stop him at the moment. Great pass over there, and Andy Bombach into the empty net for the Panthers' 5th and final goal. Come back after the break, and Eddie will be with Adam Goodridge, the Panthers equipment manager.
The new Fiat 500, the Icon Reloaded. In Fiat showrooms now.
Whatever your white good needs, whether it's sales or repairs, choose Jim Grice, Sutton in Ashfield. With nearly 50 years of family business experience with all major brands, we'll make sure you take home the product that fits your needs, with no hidden extras. Choose Jim Grice, Sutton in Ashfield. Friendly family business that cares. Nearly 50 years speaks for itself.
I'm Jeff Dimon, and you're watching Checking It Out from the Panthers office with the GMB.
Ice hockey, the world's fastest team sport, played in Nottingham by the GMB Nottingham Panthers. For tickets and fixtures, visit panthers.co.uk.
I'm here with Adam Goodrich and Dan Green. Now, Adam Goodrich has been our equipment manager for a very long time, and the game of hockey has evolved over the years. Has the equipment as well?
Yes, it has. I mean, guys, when they first started, every guy had one wooden sticks, heavy wooden sticks. They had probably 3 or 4 different curves to choose from. Guys would come in and say, yeah, this curve will work, kind of thing, and they'd get out there and do the best they could with it. Whereas now, we have like 6 or 7 different companies. They all offer different curves, different sticks, different flexes. So there's lots more things for the guys to choose. And if none of them they like, then we can make custom sticks for them for their specific needs. Skates are the same. Skates are now not as heavy as they used to be. They're really lightweight. We can switch steel during the game now without guys taking off their boots. And
like in Manchester.
Like in Manchester, yeah, like in Manchester. So no, equipment's really evolved a lot over the years. So.
Awesome. Now, Dan, as a goaltender, I understand there's a certain breaking in period with equipment, and I know you recently got new wands. So when is When is equipment broken in and when is it too broken in for goalies?
I would say normally if I got, like you said, a new pair of sort of pads or gloves, I'd probably like to wear them for maybe ideally sort of 2 weeks of practice. So you'd probably be on the ice sort of 10 times in them to break them down, because they're stiff, and even if it's the same, like I had the same ones last year, but it's just breaking them down a little bit, getting used to moving in them. And yeah, I'd say about 2 weeks normally. They'll be fine.
And when are they worn out?
Normally, I would say after about a season. I mean, it just depends, how much you play, what equipment you've got. But for something like pads, at this level, probably sort of a season, maybe a little bit more, and they'll start to. You can tell they start to wear down, especially gloves. You'll start to feel shots in your hand a little bit after a season. In the practice, they'll start to hurt. So normally for me, things like sort of a body armor or shorts can last a little bit longer. But the sort of the main things I would say about a season.
Now, Adam, equipment has evolved, as you just said. Was it easier? Was your job easier when you first started, or is it easier now with the equipment sort of evolution?
I think I would probably say it's easier now because, I mean, like guys know specifically what they want. So instead of trying to find things that guys are comfortable in and whatnot, now they know. I'll contact them as soon as we sign as soon as they sign for the team. And they know exactly what they want, what they would like to use, what size gloves they'd like, and whatnot. And so yeah, it's there's so much more options for the players to choose from now. So it's a lot easier to find things that they're comfortable in. And obviously, if they're comfortable, hopefully they can go on the ice and perform.
Now, I'm sure a lot of fans saw in the preseason during training camp, the Panthers players were using Lego to bond and interact. Can you tell us more about that? What happened there?
Yeah, basically Corey asked me to help out with a team building exercise, and my company basically runs Lego activities, and we set the guys some challenges which helped, we thought helped, improve team building, communication skills and things like that. And I think the guys really enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun, and hopefully it's starting to pay off on the ice now.
What kind of things were you doing, Dan?
We basically were set. Adam set us a couple of tasks. We were normally put in, partners or maybe small groups with kind of new guys on the team. So it was all about, meeting the new guys and kind of working as a team. But it was building different things, animals, where one person can see it and one person can't, and you have to communicate and explain to them what you're building, and you build it, and you at the end you kind of see if it matches up with what they've built. And then we built a couple of different models. We built the Elite League Trophy and the word Champions and a couple of other little games that we did. But it was really good for communication and obviously, working as a team and getting to know the new guys.
Awesome. We're gonna go for an ad break, and you're watching Checking It Out with the GMB.
Whatever your white good needs, whether it's sales or repairs, choose Jim Grice, Sutton in Ashfield. With nearly 50 years of family business experience with all major brands, we'll make sure you take home the product that fits your needs, with no hidden extras. Choose Jim Grice, Sutton in Ashfield. Friendly family business that cares. Nearly 50 years speaks for itself.
Amore. Subito.
Say hello to the all-new Fiat 500X. The Italian crossover, ready for action in all Fiat showrooms from April 24th.
I'm Evan Mosey. You're watching Checking It Out from the Panthers office with the GMB.
Thanks to the guys talking equipment there, but now we're talking discipline, the Department of Player Safety. Fancy words that dress up the guy that hands down the suspensions. And that guy this year is Simon Kirkham. Simon, we've known each other a long time, so let's start by asking you to lay it out. How does it work? When do you get involved?
Well, DOPS gets involved when there's been a major penalty called, max penalty being the penalty being called. We then review that by video and also by referee's report and also linesman, and then we make a decision off the back of that. Also,
but you don't just do matches, do you? Games get reviewed, 2+10s get reviewed?
Yeah, so this season the difference is we are reviewing 2+10s and 5 in games for checking to the head and checking from behind, because they are very important penalties and can cause major injuries to the players.
Last year, word has it that some referees, not all of them, but some were told, just go to 2+10 and the rest will get picked up by DOPS. You don't have to call the bigger penalties. Now, I was very disappointed when I learned that, because I think we should rely more on the referees getting it right.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think the referees are out there to do a job, and the job is to call the game as they see it, and to call the major penalties when they need to be called, and not rely on DOPS to make the decision. I think we are there as a backup to what the referees' decisions are made on the ice.
So if they think it should be a match penalty, they should be calling a match penalty. If they think it's a game, they should be calling it as a game.
Correct. And then on those situations I said previously, then we come in and we look at it. The teams can come in and request a review if they feel that an instance hasn't been a penalty hasn't been given that should have been given.
They have to pay to do that?
Yes, they do. Yes.
You lodge a couple of £100, 250 quid, and then it gets looked at, and
yes.
if you're proven right, you get your money back.
Yes, that's it. That's the process.
All right, let me ask you. We'll come back to DOPS in a moment, but you're also heavily involved in the allocation of referees and who they are and whatever. We're seeing new faces this year, guys that we heard about on the fringes, but we've had recently Tom Perring from Sheffield, ref for the first time at Elite League level in Nottingham. Liam Sewell is getting a run at it in Nottingham. The word was there aren't enough refs to go around, and now we're seeing new guys who are doing as good a job as anyone else has ever done.
I just felt that these guys needed a chance to go out there and referee. I've seen them at the lower levels. I saw what a job they did at the lower levels and how good they were, both at skating and also calling the games. And I just felt that these guys deserve a run out at this level, and I knew that they could do it. There's also a guy up in the north called Steve Brown, Stefan Hogarth. So we've got at least 3 or 4, maybe more, that we can drop into the Elite League.
Now, some teams will dislike a certain referee. That always happens.
That goes with the territory.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're on the ice. You make a call, and that call can go against the team, and they can feel aggrieved by it.
What's going to happen when the teams ring Simon Kirkham up this year and say, Simon, give us a rest from so and so for a while?
I will take that on board and maybe adjust accordingly.
You may adjust. All right, the refs. You've just said that some of them are newcomers to this level. I had a gripe about DOPS last year. I felt DOPS last year was protecting the referees, so that almost their standpoint was, their backstory, their backstop position was, well, the ref must have got it right, even when the refs got it wrong, and they kind of massage things to make that work. My big beef, last year was when Robert Farmer got done for leaving the bench to join an altercation. The tapes proved he hadn't. The way the penalties were called meant Belfast got a power play out of it, which shouldn't have been the case. So then Farms was given third man in, which protected the game sheet. Are you going to protect the referees this year, or might the DOPS reviews actually lead to some of them being told, hey, you got that wrong?
That is going to happen because as part and parcel of the game, that referees, being human beings, will make mistakes. Mm-hmm. They will make, and they know that. The guys know that because I've spoken to them about it. I made mistakes when I was refereeing, some big ones. But you learn by your mistakes, and if you don't, there's a problem. And I will talk to them about it, and also we have a review process every week where I send out the good and the bad and the ugly from that weekend's games, what I feel the guys should work on. So I think that we need to be looking at ourselves as well as officials on the ice, and be accountable. And to be fair, most of the guys that are on the ice, in fact all of them are accountable and know that the process through me is very open and honest, and there's a 360-degree talk that we have between ourselves.
You and I go back a long way, as we've already said. I mean, it's the only way, isn't it? If you make a mistake, put your hands up. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Dean did it. I mean, that was a dreadful mistake when you didn't play overtime and penalties, but at least he admitted it was my mistake, and then you move on.
Yes, that's what people have got to do. Is people make mistakes and they learn from those mistakes, and then we should move on.
Let's go back to DOPS. When someone's put in for something against, let's say, a Nottingham Panther, when do I get to put the Panthers side of it?
Well, once we've reviewed the process, and this is the same for all teams, we make a decision. We inform the club of the decision that DOPS have made. there is a minimum tariff. And for majority of match penalties, it's a 1-game ban, and they are automatic. You cannot ask for them to be looked at. But anything more than the 1 game, you can say, right, I now want my say. I want to put my piece forward on anything extra from the 1 game.
But that has to be an appeal.
Yes, that's appeals process. Again, that's driven back into the league and back through me, and we put that together.
And that's a couple of grand to lodge it.
Yes, that's £2,000 to lodge the appeal.
When you're reviewing this and you don't get to put your side of it, which is another one of my beefs, that you should be allowed to put your side of it, but at least we've got the appeals situation in place this year that wasn't there last year, so you can come in on the back of it and argue your corner. When you're doing that, do you look at just that incident? So like if a team sends in a tiny clip of somebody wielding a stick, do you look at that? Or do you look at what provoked it beforehand, like the shift before or earlier on the particular shift?
We tend to look at 30 seconds before and 30 seconds after, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to rerun the game and we don't want to re-referee the game. We only really need to look at those situations, and there may be something before that's happened, or actually something during the game in that instant that we need to look at. So we try to review 30 seconds before, 30 seconds after. We have the processes that every club downloads into a server the games from the from the night before, and we can look at the games from the night before by dinner time.
Okay, you've got a busy week this week. I think you've got about 6 or 7 to review.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
So we won't keep you much longer because I know you want to shoot off from the recording to go and look at things. But I do want to ask you a couple more points. Consistency. Are you building your own consistency this year? That you've given 2 for that, and that will be borne in mind if something similar happens. Are you looking back on previous decisions from last year, or are you just doing your own consistency this year?
No, we're trying to be consistent, and that's across the board. But we are starting anew. We are slightly different DOPs than it was last year, so the standpoint will be slightly different, but hopefully the general feeling will be the same as what there was given last year. I don't think there was anything major last year and not many games given, so we're trying to keep to that, but we are putting our own stamp on it.
One personal little bit of soapbox from me. I get shot down every time I raise this. I think punishments would be better suited fitting the crime. So if you commit an offence against the Nottingham Panthers and you guys handed down a 5-game ban, I'd like to see 3 games and the next 2 against Nottingham. And the argument is you don't do that in any other sport. My argument against that is we play each other so many times it would be very easy to police and the teams would police it. Would you be averse to guys being suspended for 5 games in total, 2 of them against the team that they offended against?
My personal opinion is I don't think that's right, but that's just my personal opinion. I think the game should be consecutive. I mean, that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why I think you're wrong. It won't be the first time we disagree. It won't be the last time we disagree this year. You know, like I say, we go back along that. But the reason is, like, there are cases where teams could put in for discipline, knowing they will win, but they don't do it because the play would be suspended against their rivals, and they would get no benefit from justice being done. And that comes in especially in the second half of the season, where it would be less likely to happen that you would have games on the schedule to specifically ban someone against a specific team. So it's less likely to happen at the most crucial time of the season when we might say, well, we want to put in against so-and-so who's playing for so-and-so. He'll get a 3-game ban, 4-game ban for that, but he's playing the team that we're in the race for the league title with, or he's playing against the team we play in the cup semi-final next week. So they don't do it.
Yeah.
And I think that argument, for me, carries the day.
I think I can see that point of view, very much so. But I think it's a discussion that needs to have around the table with everybody to see if everybody's open to it. As you rightly say, you do play each other a lot of times, so it's easily policed and easily managed than it would be if you had a bigger league. And I think that maybe there's some merit in it, but that's for the board of directors to sort out with me, of course.
And like I say, every time I raise it, I just get shot down in flames, not least by my own chairman and what have you. We brought out our book. You've been around for most of that 70 years, haven't you?
Thank you, Gary.
Platinum Panthers. It's available from the Panthers desk, the East Midlands Train-sponsored VIP desk. At all of our home games, it's also available from Forbidden Planet. It's sponsored by Bluebell Trust. Now, we've done the Flowers Award, and it's time for the Joseph Grimaldi, Jim Grice Appliances from Sutton in Ashfield sponsored Clown Moment of the Week. Now, it's actually tied into the 70th anniversary. You're not in the book, but because we're talking history, I thought that Joseph, because it's long overdue, the clown moment of the Platinum Panthers goes to you.
Thank you.
Because you're on national telly, you were the referee, they mic'd you up, some bright spot. In fact, it actually kind of goes to you, but it kind of goes to the producer who thought this was a good idea, who mic'd the referee up in a high-octane semi-final at Cardiff.
Yes, it was at Cardiff, yeah.
And clear as a bell, with no comment going on from other players near you. The crowd had gone quiet. You can't use all the words, but you turned around at one point and screamed at Steve Carpenter of the Panthers, you don't write the rule book.
Yeah, I know I was right, I don't write the rule book, but there was an expletive in there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't write the beep, beep, beep rule book. National television went everywhere. You've never got an award for it. You are our Joseph Grimaldi clown moment of the week, kind of. Also goes to the producer.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, because it's a difficult job. I don't know why the heck you do it. Do you know why you do it?
I'd sometimes wonder.
So do we. Panthers versus Sheffield, Saturday, 7 o'clock at the Capital FM Arena. My thanks to all of our guests. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week. This is Checking It Out from the Panthers office with the GMB.